built a whole empire from scratch with his own hands and his family, and it's a brother in Christ. It's a good brother just to see doing so well. So, ladies and gentlemen, please help me introduce George Munengwa, our financial expert for the afternoon. Please come through, sir.
Wow, good afternoon to everybody. A big shout out to Kuvimba Mining for this amazing thing that they're doing. I'm even thinking of starting this at our own enterprise because it's important that my people do not perish. And I can tell you, even me, as I was at the back there, I was learning a lot. And you know, in life there's what's called the 48-hour rule. Tell your neighbor, 48-hour rule. So the 48-hour rule says this: whatever you hear, if you do nothing with it within 48 hours, you would have just been an individual who heard something and it passed through you and it left. So whatever you don't apply within 48 hours as a principle, as the beginning of a habit, you were just somebody who was here to listen. And I can guarantee you, after I speak today, I'm going to certainly provoke, inspire, and equip most of you. But my main urge is that we should be doers of what we are learning. Because if we don't become doers, unfortunately, we will not change. And we will just live an ordinary life. And at the end of our life, all we will be remembered by is the tombstone that they put where we are laid to rest. But I believe all of us want to become history makers. We all want to leave a serious impact, a legacy in whatever we do. Today, as I begin this, I was asked to come and speak about finance. And there's an amazing verse in the Bible on Proverbs 21:20, which says, "The wise have wealth and luxury, but fools spend whatever they get." All right? I know we've read the Bible before, but that's a very simple verse that is going to change you, especially with the way you live your life. Now, how many of us ever get money here? How many? I love people who are... Okay, how many people like money? Okay.
How many I liked by money?
Oh, you like the money?
No. How many I liked by money?
Oh, okay. How many I like by? All right. All right, this is $10. Who wants $10?
Yeah.
Who wants $10? All right, who wants $10? All right, who wants $10? Okay, big round of applause to him. I have $10 here. Who wants $10? Who wants $10? Okay. Right. I have $10 here. Who wants $10? Okay. Right. Now, the reason I am doing this is that there are 3 people who acted upon what I said.
4 actually.
And
Before
who,
she came, she was just far.
yeah, and who actually stood up and reacted and did something that you didn't do. Unfortunately, with people, because we were confined in a classroom setup, I saw those who passed A's, who got their 15 points, very smart. Yes, I want. Classroom setup. Remember, that's what we were taught. If you know the answer, lift your hand. But unfortunately, when it comes to money, it doesn't come because you lifted your hand. My money does not come to you. And those people who stood up are the same people like you who are hearing me today, but they are taking a deliberate act. My brother ran, took it. Let's give him a big round of applause. Now in life, unfortunately, whatever happens to you is what you deliberately choose to act to do. And unfortunately, we have been so confined with life that we think we should just sit at work, get a salary, live the whole life, JOB, just over broke, and not be able to do some of those things we want to do because we are waiting. We are confined to 30-day cycles to be rewarded. And this is all of us, right? And why I'm saying this is because I used to be like all of you here. I used to also earn $300 a month where I used to work, and God blessed me with twins, and financially I was not okay because at that time things were not adding up. My wife at the time was working at a bank. Our combined salary was about $700. Our rentals were more than half of that. The Pampers and the milk were chopping all my money. And what was left financially was not able to do much for me. And only until then did I decide to make one of the best decisions I did. And I decided to jump ship and begin an enterprise which I'm currently running today. But for 6 years of my life, I was one who believed in the 8 to 5. I mean, I grew up, my father and mother were both social workers. My mother was a teacher. My father worked in the city council for 35 years. And back then it made sense, because back then there wasn't as much empowerment like we do have now, where you can make so much more money even though you go to work. I worked for 6 years, and I can tell you I was okay. But when I used to go to things like what's happening today, business networking forums, I'm glad the former speaker was talking about association. You become what you hang around with. True? We all know these things. If you hang around with 5 poor people, the problem is you cannot count, because you are actually the 5th. You are actually 5 of you. You can count the poor people, but because you are constantly hanging with them, you also are one of them. And it's unfortunate that many of us are not attending more and more of these things, because for me this is mind-opening. And again, let's give a big round of applause for this amazing institution. As much as you are working here, you are also being empowered. They don't have to do this for you, trust me. It's not a must. I can tell you, when I was sitting there, I've gone to many different organizations, but this is different. This is different. It's nutritional, it's mindset. You've got somebody speaking finance, you're being taught a lot of things. And that's commendable, and that is to empower you. Because I can guarantee you, as much as my father worked at the city council for 35 years, yes, he got to the age where he had to stop, and yeah, he got a fairly decent package. But I can tell you, for majority of us, financially, if you don't prepare yourself for what will happen after, and anything can happen to any of us. Yes, you can get a package which can last you 5-6 years. I don't even think it will last you 5-6 years with the type of lifestyle you have, maybe a year or 2. But what will happen when that money that you used to get monthly dwindles away? Now, I love the Word of God so much. You know, how many of you love the Word of God, the Bible? That's right. And I like the example in the Bible about the parable of the talents. This has to do with finance, but in a very unique way. There was one guy who was given 1 talent, another 5, another 10, correct? And all of us here, when we come to work at the end of the month, we get paid what is called a salary. But what we do with our salary is totally up to us. Now, the biggest problem with, especially us color people, and when I mean us color people, I mean, if I look around, I see we're all one color. In here right now, in one, yeah, okay, we've got a lighter color. She's very sarcastic. Yeah, she's the lightest one in here. But all of us are the same color. And unfortunately, with Africans, we have a mindset of consuming. We are the highest consumers on planet Earth. When you think of all the designer clothes, it is us. The most expensive cars, it is us. The colognes, you may smell good, but what is remaining in your pocket? As long as you look good, smell good, You are faking it until, unfortunately, you'll never make it, because that doesn't work. And this is what has caused us to be financially stuck and stagnant and not growing. So when I decided to jump off ship and begin this enterprise, like I said, there were so many people who said it will not work, some very close members of the family. And I remember my own dad, I love my dad. So I began entrepreneurship in grade 6. My mother and father financed me to start a freezer business so that I can become financially literate at a young age. And that's the best thing my parents ever did, because going to St. George's College, visa kunyara. And some of you suffer from kunyara because of what? You need to eat from my car. Because true kunyara kustanga from where we are. But fortunately for me in grade 6, that died. Kwankune zupo, daigara bus stop, and I should go down bazi, tenga freezers. From the $5 I got 10. I multiplied that and it grew. I got to diversify and I got to freezers. This is way back. Right? And kudara and I got to zero to Iowa. TK, I know we are Adam freezers, they might put Nechquelet. And it? Tomuba. But Pogzotera Mariamu na TK much. It's better than I see $1.50 because in life and in business, as you even begin doing your own hustle and your own business, you're going to be very principled in understanding that I would rather keep my stock and give it on credit, because some of the people who are the difficult people are the people who are closest to you when it comes to chasing up money. Worse off we go church, please. Musakwane church where unotozo tati zokunamata mfesati. Uchiona TK aine suit new one ne boots ane mari yako ari kutodya. Ari kutorwa last number chikafu, but it doesn't make sense. So all these things from a young age taught me to be very financially sound. And for me, I started my business in 2012. And I can tell you that it's always good hearing from people who've done something that you haven't done, because it will provoke you, it will challenge you. Because most of you will think, Changa something. But what if it fails? And I like the former speaker, because the greatest hindrance to financial freedom and going the other side of life is a 4-letter word called fear. And all of us have experienced fear somehow, somewhere. All of us. And fear comes in 2 ways. Your association, and number 2, what you hear. Right? So if you are hanging around with chickens, the only thing chickens will tell you is chicken business. Right? They are clucking, complaining, the economy, they are blaming everybody. Everybody. Why did that guy get a car? Why is this? Why is the economy? Why is it raining? Why? There's nothing progressive coming out of chickens. Right? And then there are others who instill their fear in you. And I remember my dad, when I wanted to begin the journey of entrepreneurship, I said, my father, Nicodemus Munengwa, Samunengwa, Dovada, Shaganyanya. And I remember when I told him, Dad, I want to resign from work. He said, oh, but I just balance at that. It's not making sense. Because I'm remaining with $70, $80, and if I do transport costs, it's not adding up. I remember the next day, my dad came, he drove his car to the office. George, Nozana wrote a open. And down there, when you can't walk on my twins, I'm going to be the Havarosh. Hey, what tell you? I hope it is. Which up to the walk to the Gangwang. Please, Siena Nash, Torinani Mabasa Uneta. And what happens in life, and this is a story that should say something to you, because I know there's probably somebody, there's a voice, being your dad or being your mom. You probably would want to listen to them because you think they have the best interests for you. But in life, unfortunately, we all have different fingerprints. We all have a different course of action with life. And I remember when I started my journey, things were hard at the beginning. I didn't listen to my dad. But flip 5 years later, when George Munengwa was getting many awards, at first my dad was like, even my awards, they are not taken away. I said, award. And I remember when we met the former president, and my father was, your son is doing great work in this air conditioning sector. We're really happy you groomed this young man. And I remember my dad was like, George, Hey, what to tell you? What are the words in something? And to me, this is a call and a hit to you. Sometimes when you're very close to something big, there will be people who come and speak to try and blow out that flame on your candle of something that can transform your life and many generations to come. And it's going to happen. Many friends of mine, I can only imagine TK, my close brother, that I'm coming after my aircon. What I can just observe that and towards the end of the brand, I said, man, aircon. My Buddhism winner. I was on an excuse, and a lot of people won't believe in you when you start, right? Close friends. And for me, you know, I love the verse, Proverbs 3, verse 5 to 10, and I urge all of you to read it. You know, to trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will guide your path. Do not be wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord and shun evil, and this will bring nourishment to your body. Honor the Lord with all your substance, and He will cause your barns to overflow with wine. I was going to get more. Is Jesus wept. For God so loved the world. But for me, I began from a session like this where I was provoked, and I remember the people who were there. And you know, for me to begin my enterprise, the man of God spoke to me and said, hey, I see there's a bigger vision for you. But what you're going to need to do, you're going to need to resign, because there's something bigger for you. And I can tell you, some of you here are told to resign. You'll say, cannot just put your engagement. Why don't you know wellness program? Why don't you know? But I can tell you this. You must choose your heart. Tell your neighbor, choose your heart.
Choose your heart.
And what choose your heart means is that there are people who are doing what is easy now, right? But their lives in 5-10 years are going to be very hard. And it's a decision. The greatest decision I ever made financially was to jump ship, trust my gut, and begin to build an enterprise now, which is not only taking care of me, which is not only taking care of Seguru Munengwa now, who is 5 Wasuguru from me, and 20 Wasuguru in total. And he himself is saying, you know what, George, the best thing you ever did was to trust your gut and to follow what you love. Now, I'm the only one in my family who never went to university. The only university I graduated at, I'm sure all of you know this place because you've passed by there. Back in the days, it's no longer there. It was demolished due to other concerns in the city. There's a university called Simex Small. And that's where I graduated with my faculty of hustle. Now, if you've been to Simex Small, it's an amazing college. It's not what it used to be. Before, there was a nice structure there. And if I used to hustle, right? And what I learned in hustling, you need an ecosystem, because there are people there who have what you don't have. There are certain people you're going to meet up from nowhere, and you have to be able to conversate and sell. And I can tell you in life, unfortunately, because we're not taught this at school, right? We're taught end up school, pass, wait a master's, bus. But I can tell you with AI, with all these new things that are happening, very soon, some of these jobs you have are going to be taken over. And I think we saw it over COVID, how so many companies chopped off so many people, how so many things changed, and people became jobless. And I can tell you right now, in an economy, in a world actually, where the jobs are getting lesser and lesser, according to international standards, in the past 2 years, 20 million people have lost their jobs, right? Due to automation, AI. There's a lot now that an app can do that somebody who's sitting used to do all day long. How many of you go into the bank, just to raise your hands? Imagine that, 1 out of 50 of us. But there's no need no longer to go to the bank. Now if you go to first world countries, you'll find out, when my takeaway are totally automated. I know it's very difficult for you to imagine, but you go there, you click on a pad, I want this, that. 3 minutes later, your food comes. We're getting to a generation where there are cars which can drive themselves. We used to watch these movies back then, 20 years ago, but now it's becoming reality. But with that, back to my principle of those who were given 1, 5, and 10 talents. Right now, you're at an organization which is taking very good care of you. But I can tell you this, and tell your neighbor this, the biggest risk you can take in life, say this to your neighbor, is not taking a risk. And in life, unfortunately, there are those who did not take a risk by standing up and running after the $10, right? But there are others who now have that in their pocket. But what you do with your finances is what's going to determine your future. How many of us have kids? How many of us have people we take care of? Right? Imagine, let's just say something happened and this institution now says, things are tight, we can't do that. What are you going to do? Some of you can't even imagine that. I liked my example, or close your eyes. Some of you cannot say, how? What do you mean? Kuvimba, zite. Some of you can't even imagine that because you've been here so long. But things can change. But what will not change is your life, because you're going to have to live your life. But what you are doing with the seeds you have right now should be making an impact for the future. One thing I did back then was I took a risk with money that I had. And if you guys listen to me, I'm always on radio, on Capital. Every Monday, 12 to 1, you should tune in. I have a mentorship program which I run. It's there online called the GB Mentorship. And my purpose in life is to change people's mindsets on believing on one stream of income. Because that is the greatest and riskiest thing you can do in life. If you just rely on one stream, if that one stream gets cut off, it's going to affect your whole lineage of people who are under your umbrella. One thing I did in 2012, I planted a seed, and that seed was a company called ProAir. And now, 13 years on, it has become a household name now, and it has created a shade for me, which is taking care of not only me, but so many people. But so many of you also have that seed in the form of your salary. That instead of becoming like all the other Africans, wanting to look good, but actually having nothing, you can actually decide to make use of that seed by using financial intelligence. By saying, wait, instead of consuming, do I really need a new phone? Really? I know that one came out, but if you look at it, all these phones are nearly the same. But for you, not to last week, I'm the first one. Yeah, but if you look at investments that you have made, which if you sit, they can give you money you don't have. But remember, next year there's going to be another new one, right? Sure, but in years to come, you'll be remembered, I'm going to get a phone new one every year. But then later on, you'll look like some of us do. You know, I look at some of my friends, the reason I failed my O-levels and I didn't go to university, it wasn't that I wasn't intelligent. No. I was always that guy in class who would always, I was there, always, George, ask the teacher, George, and I was that guy who was always pushed. And I was that guy like now who says, let me just jump. If I fail, I don't fail, I actually learn something. And that's what happens. Some of you are so comfortable where you are that you have never failed. From grade 1, number 1, grade 7, 4 points, upper 6, 15 points, A-level distinction. You've never failed. So you will remain in a cocoon. And unfortunately, when Wakadaro in life, they never break out and do something because they fear failure so much. Because they wanted to impress dad, mom, and the community. And that's what holds a lot of people back. But when you are somebody who has failed, how many of you have failed in anything in life? Right? Wow, a lot of you haven't failed. Wow. Yeah. All right. Oh, they failed at raising their hands. Okay, that's good. But if you haven't failed in life, and my abbreviation of the word fail, F-A-I-L, is first attempt in learning. right? I failed my O levels. Yes, I did the first time, but the second time I passed. Can any of you tell that I failed my O levels the first time? Does it show on me now? It doesn't show. I tried so many businesses. When I opened a phone shop, oh, it didn't work out. But eventually I started something now, and it has taught me so many things from the many failures I've had, which have made me become the person that I am. So failing is a good thing, because you learn. The most important thing you will learn out of failure is the lesson, where you went wrong and where you went right. So ladies and gentlemen, my urge to you today is that this life is solely responsible by you, the person who is sitting here today. The life you're going to live tomorrow, 5 years from now. I love this, what the lady did, and we're actually going to do it. Everybody, I want you to sit, relax, put your hands on your laps, right? And we're going to go into imaginary zone. Now, all of you, I want you to close your eyes. Right. I want you to imagine yourself 5 years from now. Let your mind go. 5 years from now, where are you going to be staying? And I want your mind to answer and see, where will you be staying 5 years from now? What type of lifestyle will you be living? What type of car are you going to be driving? Now December is around the corner. 5 years from now, I want you to see yourself at your dream holiday with your family. I want you, as you are thinking, to see your bank balance. I want there to be a lot of zeros in that bank balance in your mind. I want you to see yourself walking on a beach with your family, having a good time. Right, now let's open our eyes. So this little exercise that we did is visible to you in your mind. How many of you saw a car, a house, the lifestyle? When I said bank balance, I had a lot of chuckles. Your mind refused to imagine a lot. And that's what we need to change. When it came to money, your mind, that it's... How many of you saw things you had never thought or saw before? But my word to you is that I love this verse in the Bible that says, according to your faith, it shall be done unto you. And that verse is so deep because according to your faith, and I'm going to keep using the example of the people who stood up, right? They did something and they ended up getting something. And unfortunately in life, in Genesis it says, as long as the earth prevails, there's going to be seed time and harvest. And at Kuvimba, I know they give you what is called a seed at the end of the month. But where you plant it, what you do with it, is what's going to determine ultimately 5 years from now, what you saw alone in your mind to actually manifest and become reality. Some of you now, you will start saying, wait, don't be a consumer. Tell your neighbor, don't be a consumer. Tell your other neighbor, don't be a consumer. Now tell yourself, I'm not going to be a consumer. Because it begins with you and what you do with money. You know, I learned this many years ago with my mentor who was telling me, because when you begin a business, you do get a lot of money that you never used to get before. And I remember when I got a huge lump sum after we won a big contract, my edge, my inner black man African edge was they must see me.
Yes, right.
I want you'll be having this convection here, right? If it was the old me, you would have heard GLE 63 AMG. All of you are going to be like, who's that? This was me back then. But thank God I had mentors and people who spoke to say, George, the most important thing in business is this. You must be financially wise to see the future and reinvest into the business. Now some of you, I can tell you, right now you're this humble, you're this chilled, but the moment you get money, the true character will manifest. We will see the real you. Before, right now you can see it, greet somebody, how are you, how's your day, how's everything? When you have money, you have no time. Wellness, what for? Wellness? Come in the wellness, no wellness. My pockets are well, I don't need that type of wellness. What do I need to be taught how to eat? What? Money amplifies true character. And right now you don't know your true character because you haven't had a lot of money. And had I not gotten that financial wisdom, and one thing about my mentor is like, you know what, George? One of my friends has that car, and he called his friend, my young man is coming, please give him your car for a day or two. Thank God. That car was just under $100,000. I went, I enjoyed it, but after 2 days, how many of you have ever bought something after 2 days? That zeal is gone. It's totally gone. Yes, windows open. You want them to see you. You are driving super slow. You want to, and that's all of us. When you have money, you want to be seen. You get to church late so you can go to the front so they can see you with the new designer bag, the shoes, the cologne, everything is on point. But when you get to a level of maturity financially, you'll begin to see every single money as a seed. And I remember when I was building my first house, I used to see, when my friends said, let's go to lunch, I would equate every meal to a bag of cement. So I used to say, hey, I don't know, 3 bags this cement. No. For 3 bags, I just see what's a. But I tell you, there are many of my friends who up until now don't have houses of their own. Why? Because we all have seeds. You've touched money. But due to your lack of financial intelligence, you are choosing your heart now. You are choosing what is easy now, mind you, and your life is going to be very hard. If you do what's easy now, your life is going to be hard. But I chose what was hard. For 5 years I was ridiculed. Ndaimbomira kumarobhoti apa nemukadzi wangu sometimes tichikuona maflyer early morning, right? Many friends are like, hey George, I think zvaoma mukana muna kumira kumarobhoti. I think about twins. This guy made a wrong decision to have kids. He said, now don't worry about that. Many will ridicule you, laugh at you. But the difference is, I planted a seed, which now has become this. Where my friends who used to ridicule me, just as grass. It's called green. Greens are Ababani shade, but the green is there. But that's exactly what's going to happen to some of you. Financial intelligence should teach you to think of the 5-year plan. But that 5-year plan is going to be deliberately affected by what you're doing now. And if you don't plant a seed and use the seed that this amazing company is giving you, there's no point going to your boss and say, I need to increase it. No. Why don't you increase yourself with the seed you're already getting? Because you are far more blessed than many people who don't have the privileges you currently have. It's not about an increase that will change your mindset. Because one boy is in America, more than we are actually investing. But this is the difference in life with people. So you must be financially sound. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I want us to stand to our feet. As we end with this is what I do every single day with my kids. And I just thought it's a nice way to end it. So I have what is called the school run diaries with my kids. And these are affirmations that we do. So affirmations are words that you speak into your life by yourself. And I know some of you it's going to be the first time, because if I say, tell me 3 things about yourself, I know we can spend 2-3 minutes trying to think of what you think about yourself. But I want you to make this become a habit. You must every single day begin to speak. Usually when I hold master classes, I actually ask people to write them down and stick them up in their office, in their bedroom, and every morning when you wake up, stand and begin to decree and declare those things you want to see. And I can tell you, I've seen the benefits of these affirmations, not only with me, with my kids, with so much. And it has really been a blessing to see my kids who are used to saying these things at the time they didn't understand them, now actually seeing the fruit. Wait a minute, I did say I'm a winner and I'm a champion and I'm the head and not the tail. And it's amazing how now at their schools, whatever they're doing, they are now becoming that, because it's a habit of continually speaking. Okay? So, repeat after me. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. Look at your neighbor. Tell them, I'm blessed. I'm blessed. I'm favored. I'm favored. Now I want you to display the good attitude, right? Because you gotta believe what you're saying, right? If you're not standing next to someone, find someone to stand. So you tell them with some confidence. Okay, let's go. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. I'm favored. I'm favored. I'm a child of God. I'm a child of God. I'm covered by the blood of Jesus. I'm covered by the blood of Jesus. And the fire of the Holy Ghost. And the fire of the Holy Ghost. I'm a winner. I'm a winner. I'm a champion. I'm a champion. I've got money. I've got money. I've got cash. I've got cash. I've got houses. I've got houses. I've got businesses. I've got businesses. I'm the head and not the tail. I'm the head and not the tail. I'm above and not beneath. I'm above and not beneath. Goodness and mercy. Goodness and mercy shall follow me. Shall follow me all the days of my life. All the days of my life. I can do all things. I can do all things with Jesus. With Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Beautiful day. Amen. Yes, we can take our seats. Thank you. All right, sure.
Hey, thank you, Judge. Let's give him a big hand. We were just talking there with Tendai, Joe, and I'm listening to him since he started his company in 2012. That's where we started ZFM. Yeah. And because we were going together to church with this brother here, and I think we had a few technical issues with our aircon, and Tendai being the boss, and the next thing, guys, and the good thing about this guy, sometimes he will just deliver. Yeah, he will. And I think also my boss Tendai at that time honored it. That's why he kept coming through. She was not She was great. I think great and fantastic topic and a lot to learn from, and in a very simple, practical way, very foolproof. And we're not saying all of you should quit your job and leave Kuvimba Mining, but it's nice to have multi-streams of income. It's not why Tendai would invite him here to come and leave, but it's a blessing, you being empowered. So let's go into our question and answer session. Another one? Can I have another one? Anyone with a question? Please just raise your hand.
Interesting that you spoke about your father, yeah? And say with your father that don't own him and you have guts and persistence, I can tell you that.
Thank you very much for the deliberation. I think it was quite insightful. I have a question on, let's say I'm a small business owner and the cash flow is not good these days. What do I prioritize? Salaries or myself? Sometimes you find yourself in a circle where you're literally waiting for salaries. And you're not getting anything. And you end up in debt, and then you're thinking, is this going to work? So what do you prioritize? Or what do you do maybe?
Wow, great question. Let's give a big round of applause. So I would say to you, and this is one of the things that I managed to benefit from very early stages of life, and I love people who ask questions. Whenever there's deliberations, and there are people who usually don't come, I think the people who are the smartest, which is why I think I was very smart in class, I used to ask a lot of questions, I used to be bored, which is why I think in life I ended up getting what others didn't have because I asked. Now, my answer to you is, what type of business are you into?
Health.
Health. Have you ever asked somebody in the same field that you're in how they've managed to become financially stable and run their businesses profitably?
Not really. I get the sense that people tend to say what's not really happening. Maybe in the health sector, guys will tell you things, like the fake it till you make it kind of thing.
Yeah.
When you are struggling, you're telling them, but then they're giving you this picture that my things are moving.
Okay.
And you can see like they're moving. So you end up just doing your thing, but not really. It's just...
Okay. Now for me, I know this quote which says success leaves clues. Tell your neighbor, success leaves clues.
Success leaves clues.
If you want to become successful, you hang around with successful people. Now when you ask your neighbor who's next to you, hey, do you think I should start a business? Like I did my father. You'll get advice from dad's perspective, was a worker his whole life. So sometimes also it's who you're asking or who you're not asking. Because one thing I've seen with successful people, yours is, I think they will not help me because you've never done it. One thing that led me to be where I am today, and I'll tell you this honestly, I am not self-made. I didn't become this big person by myself. I actually used the principle in Matthew 7, verse 7. And they ask, you shall seek and you shall find. Knock, the doors will be open. So some of the key people I've sat down with, Philip Chiangwa, Philip Matarani, Ken Sharp. There's nobody who has a successful business who I look at as a role model, who I never pestered. It may have taken 20 calls. I want to have an organization like you. I want to know, what book would you highly recommend that I read, especially in my first 2 years? What would you advise? And when you ask and you are consistent, I can tell you, you'll get certain answers. Where that you'll actually start to say, but wait, sure, I think I'm overstaffed. I started last month. I got excited. I had 4 people. And now I have a wage bill of X amount, but it's not balancing. So sometimes it's not about the number of people you have. It's also probably about hiring somebody who can multitask and you keep your overheads very low, especially at the initial stage, until you begin to. And most of the time you'll find, I remember when I started, it was just me. I used to be the accountant, the receptionist. I'll change my name to Kuzai when we are chasing for money. And I'll be like, hi, this is Kuzai from account. This could be get payment. And then when because you have to multitask, the creativity. Because you don't, a successful business is not about the number of employees you have, but it's about functionality. So I would say to you, and I would invite you to actually come to one of my classes, complimentary, because you asked a question. And I think you can also learn from others who are in there. So you see, if you ask a question, you get complimentary things. All right, next question. Could you just say your name out as well?
My name is Baldwin.
Baldwin.
Yes.
Sure.
So this is a discussion I had with 2 of my colleagues some time back. I've also had this question and it's been dawning in my mind. The issue is, I once ran a business, a very small grocery shop, and I had to close it down after about 15 months. When I did my calculations, I was losing $160 a month. So my question is, at what point do you then have to realize, no, this is not working, I need to close this down? Because when I started, an initial capital of about 3,200.
Yeah.
When I then did the stock take, when I was closing it down, everything was valued at $800. So it was not worth it. I was losing a lot of money. So at what point in time was I supposed to say, this is not working, maybe I need to move on to the next thing?
Great question. Let's give him a big round of applause. Now, what I like about these questions, they are real life questions. And I can tell you, if you want to know how somebody became successful, really, you will ask them what made them successful. And if you want to know what somebody who failed, they will tell you the truth. And I'll tell you from what you are telling me and how I learned. Because back then, I thought I was Superman. I thought I could, do this. But you'll find when an installation of aircon needs to be done, back then I didn't have a driver. I'll be the driver, I'll go with the technician, I'll wait. And unfortunately, because I wanted to do everything, and I thought I knew everything, I got to a point where things were not okay. But when I asked others, like I said to her, because you need to understand the key thing about starting a side hustle other than your job is to make profit and to make decent returns. Now when you see you're not making returns, number one, either you're being a cell phone farmer, you are just calling, did you make sales, how much money? But you're not actually being very involved in your business. Well, that's what happens. And when you begin the journey called entrepreneurship, or you start something on the side, it's going to need a little bit of your time for you to know exactly what's going on, to look at figures. But I can tell you that, were you involved in your business, hands-on?
Yes, I was management, I was driver. I was management, I was the driver, the delivery driver.
You were everywhere, okay.
I was everywhere, except for sales. Maybe that's where the issue was.
Yeah, so I think for me and what my mentors told me was that, George, you know what? I know where you're coming from because I was there. What I did deliberately, find out what's your strength. And my strength is marketing and sales. Then they said, you know what? You need to get a driver. You need to get somebody to do your quotations. And then you focus on what your strength is. Because for me, my strength is getting the sales in. But when it comes to executing, if I now start driving, delivering, I'm losing a lot of time on doing what other people can do, than me focusing on what I should do, which will keep the business running. So with that, again, I will extend an invite to you to also come and maybe we can see what.
So you spoke about big names that help you. Me as Melissa, how do I then get access to those people?
Hi, Melissa, that's a good question. And you know, that's a question always asked by many. And this is what I said. And remember, there's a word called fear, right? And how many of you have seen the president passing by, right by you, but you're so scared to say, hi, Your Excellency, how are you, sir? Just because you're seeing those guys in suits, right? What will player, everything, what could go wrong? But you lose nothing by reaching out. Hi, George, you've inspired me for so long. I really would love to take you out for lunch. Just sit down. I've got a business that I started, and I just need some insight on how I can become a better person. Hi, George, how are you? What book would you recommend I can read? I'm a startup entrepreneur. I want to find out. When you start it like that, the challenge why these big people don't want to see people is because what do you think majority of people are going to do? That's it. So if you look like you're going to ask me for money, I'll be busy. But if you're genuine, hi, how are you? I've really seen you and your story. I just want to know, what can I take you for lunch? And then, you know, let me tell you a simple secret. All the people I know, what I did deliberately, and this is a secret for success. Proverbs not opposed, and a gift given in secret will make you become very good friends with people. One also shout, Iwe, we met George the same day, but all this. It's because you did something that other people didn't do, right? I remember when I met some of these big guys, I'd be like, you know what, sir, you've inspired me from a young age. I know this is not much, but please buy yourself, put this in your car or buy yourself something. It's a sacrifice, right? And you know what will make me different from everybody else who was there? I remember that guy, he gave me $10. I remember that guy, gave me a power bank. I remember that guy, and I'm somebody who's very vigilant. If I see it, that's the CEO. And then you need to know one man. And I don't know, okay, or right. Next time I come, I say, how are you? I just got you 2 or so of these so you can. Do you know somebody will appreciate that gift because you saw the need and you will buy their heart because you did something that nobody else saw. So you must be able to see opportunities, right? There's a word called poor, right? P-O-O-R, right? There are people who are passing off opportunities regularly. Yeah? And I know after today, none of you are going to be passing off opportunities regularly. Because our conversation, I'm not going to ask for anything. I'm not. But I can guarantee you he's going to remember me the next time he sees me because of what I'm going to say or what I'm going to do. So you must tell your neighbor, don't be poor. Don't pass off opportunities regularly. I hope I've answered you. So if you know, if they will not want to see you. There are those people who I'm sure some of you panic call not open munhu yada mari webosi wakaona market chikoro zvadauforwa amasekuru muzukuru wenyu mafees, you know it, you know exactly how it's going to end, and you don't want to be that type of people when people see you. I hope I've answered you.
Yeah, you did, but then how do I then get closer to them? Like you said,
Yeah. So you see, like today,
Yeah.
I'm here, right?
Yeah, for you.
And that you've seen me here. And you can meet people anywhere. Some of them you'll meet. I remember I met former minister in an elevator at Miko's, and just like 20 seconds, I managed to be able to convert. Do you have your card? And that one, here's, come and see me. And I went and I saw them. So opportunities are going to be presented to you. But maybe next time, maybe. But but then you will pass. I was actually stuck in the elevator for 30 minutes. But I put a lot of my kids. Besides, these things, they're tough, right? But that's an opportunity. One running out to orchestrate or something. But then you pass off that opportunity regularly. Where she has been calling, wanting a meeting, just 2 minutes, and nothing comes up. Thank you.
And my question is, I think starting something, because it's something new, there will be a lot of mistakes involved, and sometimes mistakes cost money. How do you get around the issue of capacity in terms of maybe financial capacity to then establish something that is very solid?
Okay. Now, I like let's give him a big round for applause. I like people who ask questions. It shows you really want to learn. And, you know, there's a Chinese proverb, it runs a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. We all know that quote, right? But I can tell you majority of people who want the better life are not even willing to take the first step. And that's the challenge, right? So when you do start, you need to also be one who, like I've actually answered you indirectly with what we've learned here. Because what's the essence of starting a business? Making money. And I can tell you most people, all these Facebook, Microsoft, Tesla, Nyaradio, Econet, all these big companies, they've made many mistakes, right? They never had call centers before. We used to go and wait for long queues to get something done. All those, I love one of Bill Gates' quotes, and we learn our greatest lessons from our most unhappiest customers, right? And those people are the ones who correct you. Now for me, to you, similar to the question that was asked, when you go and say, and you're open and willing to really open up, and I think if ever we're going to become a generation of successful people, you have to be able to account to your mentor. $1,000 profit, what did you do? And I can guarantee you this, I was challenged 3 years back to account for every cent. Like I said fuel, like I said this, like I said that. Try this. Try it for a month. Whatever you use money for, airtime, buns, see buns 50 cents, drink $1.50, fuel $35, airtime this. And see your habits and begin to cancel out some bad habits. If you just audit yourself, you'll be able to answer yourself, hey, too much money for airtime, but productivity no good. Hey, too much time on. And you begin to actually audit yourself. When you do that, and people don't like that, people don't like to say, I want to lose weight, but right? But others who are not wanting to be disciplined won't want to go there because they know of an indiscipline that they have internally. So if you just need to focus on you first. If you can't get yourself right, there's no way your business will be right. So it begins with you. Audit and financially track yourself up. And then ultimately that will result in your business. Because you're a reflection of your business. If you can't manage financially yourself, it's going to be worse off a duplication in business. And that will similar to what you were talking about. So it begins with financial, personal discipline. If you don't have that, it's unfortunate for you. We're supposed to go far.
Right. Maybe one more question if there is. Going in 3, 2, 1. Okay, George, how do people get a hold of you? And the classes that you are offering, how do people subscribe?
All right, so I'm on social media platforms. My name is George Billionaire Monengwa, so on all social media platforms. For the mentorship classes, they're on Instagram, it's GB Mentorship. And I'm sure you can get our contacts from there. And we're looking forward to provoke, inspire, and equip every single person who's come to that class. Trust you me, is just as vibrant and excited like you are feeling right now. But as you go and as we end today, remember the 48-hour rule. From what we did at workout, from what we were taught, from our mindset, from even this talk, that it is really different. Otherwise, by Monday, factory setting, but you must write it down. Go and write down some affirmations. Go and write down all those things you saw in that 2-minute imagination thing we saw. Begin to say, I get a seed every month. What am I doing? If it's buying 100 bricks for you to discipline yourself to say, I want to finish building, but it starts little by little by little, and then after 5 years, discipline habit. So it's important. Let's just not only be hearers, because we've got many of those, but let's be doers, so that we can actually really appreciate this amazing thing that Kuvimba Mining House has done for us. So that 2 years when I come back, mindset ya change. Holiday and some of them just thought holiday in Dubai. Imagination series at that thing, because you would have thought about it and you would have acted in a disciplined manner to be able to manage your finances better. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you, my brother. Okay, so again,